If you're looking for a community that represents a destination for history, recreation, and relaxation, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better example than Hot Springs. Welcome to Dakota Life. I'm Larry Rohr. We're in the far southwest corner of the state, the Fall River County seat of Hot Springs. There are a number of warm water springs that bubble up around the area. The most recognized is the 87-degree spring water that launched Evans Plunge in 1890. It's the largest spring and recharges the pool several times a day. Above ground, it's not uncommon for the Chinook winds to send afternoon temperatures into the 50s and 60s during the winter. But let's start the program getting way above ground. SDPB's Michael Zimney soars over the southern Black Hills with the aeronauts of the Fall River Hot Air Balloon Festival.
Hot Springs is a town of ups and downs. Several staircases ascend from downtown around River Street to the surrounding slopes. In the course of a day, residents may look up at lofty local landmarks or down on the city below. Hot air balloon pilot Petra Wilson moved here from the Sioux Falls area several years ago and saw the topography of Hot Springs and Fall River County as the perfect complement for a hot air balloon festival. For the pilots gazing down on the gently sloping countryside, and the spectators looking skyward at the collage of color. This year, the festival celebrated its 5th anniversary as 18 balloons took flight over the rolling hills around the Cheyenne River. Hot air balloons were the first aircrafts to carry humans aloft, and people have been fascinated with them since the first successful flight over Paris in 1783. South Dakota has been a center of balloon technology since the 1930s, when the Army Air Corps and National Geographic Society launched manned balloon flights into the stratosphere from the Stratobowl, a valley just south of Rapid City. In 1960, the Sioux Falls-based Raven Industries invented the modern propane burner-assisted hot air balloon. So perhaps it's not surprising that people have responded enthusiastically to the Fall River Hot Air Balloon Festival.
We had moved to town, and I had taken to the skies a few times and noticed how beautiful the area was, and I had invited some friends out, and we flew out here, and we thought, wow, what a gorgeous flying area. And after a few flights, I walked into the Chamber of Commerce and asked them if they had ever thought about having a hot air balloon festival. And they said, no, we haven't, but we'd like the idea, let's talk. And so we started talking and doing some planning and whatnot. And before we knew it, we had a summer where we had 4 balloons, hot air balloons, that went out to the airport. And with word of mouth, we had nearly 100 people that came out to watch us. And we had a successful flight, beautiful area, everybody loved it. And then after that, we started planning for year 2. I learned to fly on the eastern side of the state in the Sioux Falls area. And out there are some beautiful areas, but it's mostly flat. And the topography out here is quite different. The mountains, they create a different kind of wind. We obviously watch our weather all the time, and so we're flying in the best of conditions. And to be up there in the crisp morning air, it's exhilarating.
Being in a balloon is a unique and remarkably quiet flying experience. With no engine noise, just the occasional blast of heat from the burner, you can hear the sounds of nature around you.
What's funny about the quietness of it is you're traveling with the wind, and so you don't feel the wind around you. It feels mostly still as you're traveling along. And you can be, a couple hundred feet over people. If somebody comes out of their house in the morning, they look up, they might say good morning, and we say good morning back. And usually what we get is people are surprised.
This year, the wind steered the balloons on an easterly course over the winding Cheyenne. Some pilots even dipped their baskets in the river. After a scenic flight, Marty Larson found a landing spot in the fields of a local rancher he knows. Then his crew arrived to help him deflate the envelope and pack it all in, until it's time to fly again. Later on festival night, crowds gathered beneath an ominous sky, and the pilots lit their burners to celebrate another successful Fall River Hot Air Balloon Festival.
We're continuing to expand and grow. Other pilots have been finding out about it, and we're continuously getting people interested. We had COVID this year, so we scaled back and we didn't have as many pilots. But I anticipate that for 2021, for our 6th annual, we may have close to 30 pilots that year.
Well, back here on the ground, there are many more recreational opportunities in the Hot Springs area. Built into the nearby foothills is the scenic and challenging Southern Hills Golf Course. To the south, it's Angostura Dam, which created a 5,000-acre reservoir in the Cheyenne River. And to the west, it's the southern portion of the Mickelson Trail. It crosses Highway 18 and takes hikers and bikers through Sheep Canyon on the way to Edgemont. If you want more biking adventure, 21 riders met on the South Dakota-Wyoming border in mid-July to begin an epic west-to-east race across the state by bicycle. Melissa Hammersmith-Sievers reports that most riders say the challenging route was still better than a good day at work.
I've been riding bikes a long time, and I've never ridden my bike across the state. So this will be the first time to ride from border to border across South Dakota, which is good. And now we get to do it, in a race format with 23 of what are going to be my closest friends here.
Towing the line in Beulah, Wyoming.
Get set, go!
Riders set off on the Trans-South Dakota Bicycle Race, a self-supported ride that could take as many as 11 days. The first man and first woman to arrive in North Sioux City on the Iowa border 714 miles later receive a plaque and swag. First rider overall wins a prize purse. Some who participate are looking for a gut-busting grind. James Meyer is well acquainted with the bicycle scene in the Black Hills. Meyer has been racing since he was a child. Looking for a new challenge, he opted to sign up for this event.
I like the competition, and this seemed hard. And once I looked at the route and saw what was involved, it looked like a good challenge, and it lived up to it.
Nostalgia beckons some to this backcountry ride.
About 40 years ago, after I graduated from college, I hitchhiked around the country. Lo and behold, I ended up in South Dakota working on a ranch outside of Hermosa for about a year. South Dakota is a beautiful state. I mean, it really is. It's just got a tender beauty that has got some strength in it, and I'm just really looking forward to being out on a bike, going through the countryside.
For all, it's a chance to test their mental fortitude and physical endurance. Ty Bragg has only been riding seriously for a couple of years and entered this race last minute.
I've been watching the race for about 2 years on Facebook, and it's something I always thought I would be doing out in the future. But due to COVID-19, family reunion was canceled, didn't have anything to do this week, and my wife was like, hey, why don't you go ride in the race? And I'm here.
This was Sarah Marconis' second time in the Trans-South Dakota race. For her, the week offers a reprieve from the demands of daily connectivity.
Well, when I'm riding my bike across the entire state of South Dakota, I don't have to answer calls from work. I don't have to get to the grocery store. I don't have to get to the doctor's office. Pretty much it's a very simple existence.
Have a good night.
There is, of course, the matter of Mother Nature. Acts of God can contribute the most memorable experiences by way of sunsets, a calm paddle down the Missouri River, even encounters with wildlife. But it can also waylay a rider.
Well, last time I got into the Badlands in the middle of the night and ran into a several hundred buffalo herd. And it was pretty crowded in there, and we had to back up and go around them. So we lost quite a bit of time.
Sarah won the women's race in 2019. Betsy Schauer was the first woman to finish the 2020 course with a time of 5 days, 14 hours, 30 minutes, setting a new record while traveling with Travis Stevens of Dayton, Ohio. Covering more than 100 miles per day, the pairs say it is tough to prepare for that level of mileage. A positive attitude is the most critical tool to pack.
Forward progress. That's just got to be your mantra, you know? And you know things are going to hurt. So it's like when they start hurting, it shouldn't be a surprise. You're like, okay, I figured that was going to hurt. It's not that bad, so keep going.
And when things do eventually go south, you have to give yourself permission to laugh.
I went for a nice swim. That was fun. Everything got submerged. It was a flooded road. But if you went off the side of the road, it got deep really quick, and I just went splat. But got up quick.
I thought I was gonna have to shift to rescue operations.
Yeah, but it cleaned my bike off a little bit, so that was good.
She had smiles the whole time coming out. It's like
All riders cover the same miles, trek the same 5 miles down the river, but the experience is unique for each. 2020 is the 5th occurrence for the event. A $1,000 purse went to the first who completed the route in under 4 days. James Meyer of Spearfish crossed the finish in North Sioux City in 3 days, 5 hours, 5 minutes, and 56 seconds. Crossing at a blazing pace, James was still able to absorb the beauty of the state.
It feels big when you're on your bike, that's for sure. You also notice how much it changes from the size of the rollers. Some places it's really kind of longer rollers, and then others it's really short and choppy. And then you get down into the river valleys where it gets flat. You know, you don't notice in a car as much, but when you start having to pedal every inch of it, you do notice the difference in the terrain and how it moves around.
Some athletes might gauge their success based on the numbers recorded on their fitness trackers, the time that elapsed while they were on their bikes. For most riders, this was an opportunity to be part of something greater than themselves and return more connected to nature and their loved ones.
The guys and gals who won this, they're just superhuman. But for me, I just want to finish and get back to my family and hopefully be a better husband and a better dad because of the experience.
If you're not ready to ride border to border, these bikers suggest bike packing in your corner of the state. Maybe starting with pedaling on an overnight trip or to your local campground. There are bike paths to explore here in the Hot Springs area, including the Freedom Trail downtown along Fall River, or Hot Brook Canyon, Argyle, and Fall River Road. And there's a trail that brings you here to Upper Chautauqua Park. Well, there's a lake in the eastern part of the state that's created a coalition of farmers, city officials, and state and federal agencies. Their efforts are to clean up and improve the water quality of Lake Mitchell, and it's gaining momentum. Laura Rohde has that story.
When Mitchell Mayor Bob Everson was a teen, Lake Mitchell was the place to be.
It used to be that 4th of July you couldn't get on the lake because of all the boats, or if you did, you just kind of putzed around the lake enjoying the day.
These days, the once popular lake isn't attracting many boaters. Due to water quality issues, Lake Mitchell is now covered in algae and emits a pungent odor. Mitchell residents and business owners are concerned, so cleaning up Lake Mitchell became a platform Bob Everson ran on when he campaigned for mayor in 2018.
So when I decided to run, that was part of what I took on, is if we're going to clean up Lake Mitchell, which needs to be done, we're going to do it as a complete project.
Some may think the task impossible. A watershed is an area of land water travels over or through on its way to a body of water, and Lake Mitchell's Firesteel Creek watershed is about 350,000 acres. Cleaning it up has a $20 million price tag, but Mayor Everson knew if he worked with the right team, Lake Mitchell could once again become the boating destination it once was.
And working together, we've been able to move this forward to where we are now.
Today, the list of public and private agencies, organizations, and individuals working together to clean up Lake Mitchell is quite long. Among the first folks Mayor Everson began working with were area farmers who manage land throughout the Firesteel Creek watershed. 75% of land in South Dakota is owned by private landowners. That makes working with farmers vital to improving water quality. Landowners like brothers Craig and Gene Staley. The brothers raised thousands of acres of corn and soybeans on land throughout the Firesteel Creek watershed. Avid conservationists, since the 1980s, the brothers have implemented soil health practices on the land they farm.
A business should concentrate on profitability first and foremost, or you probably won't be in business for a long period of time. And improving land that we own and that we farm for other folks is obviously the right thing to do, as well as enhances your profits long term.
Throughout the Firesteel Creek watershed, the soil's ability to absorb and hold water is key to improving Lake Mitchell's water quality, explains Jeff Zimprich, state conservationist with the Natural Resources Conservation Service.
So, when you think about a watershed, that's kind of really that area where all the rain that would fall from the sky within a given boundary would flow toward that end, flow toward Lake Mitchell.
Zimprich explains that some of Lake Mitchell's water quality issues stem from too much soil or sediment flowing into the lake, as well as water runoff containing fertilizer used on farm acres, residential lawns, or golf courses and parks. Evidence of these issues began to surface in the late 1970s when an extended drought made it necessary for the city to dredge the west third of Lake Mitchell, where Firesteel Creek flows into the lake. It was shallow and filled with cattails.
Came along, we dredged out that west end, almost the whole west end of the lake, and made it deeper to be able to hold more water for the city to use. In doing that, it removed the cattails, and where the cattails were thriving along the west end, which of course are very good natural filters for removing phosphorus and other sediments or contaminants in the lake.
To increase water infiltration and reduce soil erosion and fertilizer runoff on the Firesteel Creek watershed, the Staley brothers manage their farm acres with soil health practices like no-till planting and introducing cover crops into their crop rotation. 15 years ago, they also set aside 350 acres of land bordering Firesteel Creek to serve as a natural buffer. Today on their land, nearly 50 species of native plants work to hold soil in place and filter water before it flows into Firesteel Creek. And according to water samples taken downstream from their land, the Staleys' efforts are paying off. Now, the Staleys aren't doing this at their own expense. Through collaboration and working with incentive programs from Natural Resources Conservation Service and many other agencies and organizations, the Staleys and other farmers receive compensation for implementing conservation practices to help improve water quality.
So you have a lot of producers, obviously, that farm in this area, and without their participation, obviously, you go nowhere.
In addition to working with farmers, the City of Mitchell purchased land on the western edge of Lake Mitchell and will partner with multiple entities to install sediment ponds and recreate a cattail wetland like the one that was there when Mayor Everson was a boy.
Collaboration is key for a water project or a community to move forward. Here in Hot Springs, Centennial Park is a place where people can collaborate or congregate. It's the unofficial town square. Centennial Park is the home to events throughout the year, including the Main Street Arts and Crafts Festival in June, or the Farmers Market late Friday afternoons throughout the growing season. Next, we're going to explore collaboration between man and man's best friend. As times change, so do the roles of our canine companions. SDPB's Lori Walsh has the story of some city dogs who keep us company, keep us grounded, and keep us connected to our sense of play.
This is Violet. She's an Aussie Doodle, and she's excited because a camera crew just showed up on her front lawn. Trainer Gail Dickerson is helping Violet find her focus again.
Dogs are still dogs. They're animals. So we cannot treat them like robots, and we can't expect them to act like robots. So when Violet had all of us joining, she was just so happy and so excited. So what I did with Violet was I let her just run crazy. But we had her on the leash, so there was still that measure of control. And then I slowly started introducing an alternate command. Sit. Yes. So she got to run crazy and then sit. And as we were combining the run crazy and the sit, we were slowly bringing her back into a place where she could focus.
Why does Violet need to focus? Well, she has a job to do. Violet is a service dog. She and Jill Baker work together to help Jill with the lifetime effects of trauma.
There comes a time in your life when you want to really start healing and start doing more for your family and for yourself as a veteran. So I should say I have post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, from military service. And so it's been a long journey for me. And I just knew I needed something more at home.
Violet's job is specialized. She's connected to Jill. At one point in our conversation, when Jill gets anxious, Violet senses that anxiety, whimpers to get Jill's attention, and then lies down on Jill's feet, literally grounding her and bringing her back to the present moment. Service dogs can be trained to turn on lights in dark rooms or wake people up from nightmares, whatever the job requires. And then there's this.
There you go. Good. Repetitive behaviors are very, very, very common in people with post-traumatic stress, whether it's the leg tapping or they may have repetitive hands to the face motions. So when their hands are covering their face, we teach the dogs to get their nose in between the hands. And I tell you, nothing will get you out of that moment and into the present than a sweet little face looking you right in the face.
I'm ready to just sort of work on the personal side of me. Sure, we do all that professional stuff. We try to advocate. I've been trying to advocate for veterans and other veterans, military families. I mean, that's my ultimate goal. But you have to do the self-care too.
The good news is now Jill Baker has a new partner in self-care, and Violet has a new mission. Henry is another South Dakota city dog. His mission is less work and more play. He spends most of his time in downtown Sioux Falls, except when he's doing this. This is dock diving at Paws Pet Resort in Sioux Falls. First, Henry had to learn the basics.
Can I have a high five?
But now he can race down the dock and leap into the air for the thrilling splash of athletic achievement. Here's dog trainer and behavioralist Sammy Benning.
There is definitely a light bulb moment with the dogs, and usually that's like that moment that comes off where they can leave the dock and get their toy, and that fear of the unknown is gone for them. So they realize it's an okay thing to do. I'm gonna be fine. I can swim, I can jump, I can retrieve the ball all on my own.
Henry's owner, Susan Hoffman, says the delight of dogs is contagious.
Henry is full of joy. He just has so much joy. Every day he's happy. He's always happy. So that's a really great enhancement to our family because, he's just not Debbie Downer. He's ready to go.
Dock diving is an elaborate game of fetch where dog and human take care of one another and celebrate a precise toss of the ball or an immaculate leap. The problems of the world fall away, if only for a brief, invigorating moment.
Nearly any breed of dog can qualify to be trained as a service dog, committed to help us cope and heal. The Hot Springs community made a commitment to serve veterans that's lasted more than 150 years. The VA Healthcare Center was first established in 1865, and it includes one of the oldest and first buildings in the state. After the Civil War, soldiers arrived for treatment of lung and respiratory ailments. Battle Mountain Sanatorium opened in 1907. The State Veterans Home provides long-term care, and the latest addition is dedicated to Medal of Honor winner Michael J. Fitzmaurice. Portions of the campus use sustainable energy generated from a biomass boiler for heating and a 370 kilowatt solar system for generating electricity. But beyond care facilities is the recognition of those who sacrifice for others. Each year, climbers memorialize the heroes of 9/11 at the Hot Springs annual Grand Staircase Challenge.
As the U.S. remembers the 2001 September 11th terrorist attacks, many are finding their own way to memorialize and honor the nearly 3,000 people lost that day. A group called Climb Hot Springs is host to an event that honors those who died in the Twin Towers. Every year, people gather in the town at the bottom stairwell leading to the Department of Veterans Affairs building and climb the 140 steps 15 times to equate to the height of the World Trade Center towers. Dusty Pence is coordinator of the event. She says a good friend started the event, but has since passed.
Well, my friend Wade, who was also my personal trainer, his birthday was on 9/11. He told me one day that he had gotten up on his 40th birthday and wanted to avoid any birthday celebrations. So he came out here and he climbed up and down the steps, the number of steps he felt it would be to complete one World Trade Tower. And I said, Wade, we should do that every year on your birthday. So that would have been it would have been that very year. Then as it was approaching his birthday, we decided to do it. We invited other people. 10 of us showed up that day for that first one. Unfortunately, Wade was not there, and we did not know that Wade had passed away. So after that, it just was natural. We were doing this every year, and we have grown every year, and the whole community comes out. We've got people from Rapid City, and so that's how it all came about.
The event attracts many veterans every year. Hal is a veteran who spends much of his life getting around in a wheelchair, but every year he exercises so that he can make the climb.
It's people like, where is he? Like this gentleman, gets out of his wheelchair every year, and he must be on, Hal, how many flights? He's on his 5th flight. I have people who say, oh, I couldn't even climb once. And they're reasonably good condition. And I say, you come and watch Hal and then tell me you can't climb even once. Hal got into that wheelchair, and when people end up in a wheelchair, usually they tend to get weaker, not stronger. Hal's getting stronger. And I think it all started with challenging himself to do that one time.
Well, to me it's important. Well, I appreciate being here with all these other people doing it, but to me it's just important that we keep remembering things like 9/11 and patrons or patriots, first responders. Well, that's what counts. We're going for one more? This is
we're on
5.
5?
Yeah, we're on 5. Yeah, we're going for 6, maybe 7.
What started as a small thing between a couple of friends soon grew into a community effort. Now, every year, dozens of residents gather to remember and honor the victims of 9/11.
Hot Springs area residents don't hesitate to pitch in and honor or help each other. As a matter of fact, when we reached out to area public TV viewers to tell us about the community, we were flooded with ideas. From visiting nearby Wind Cave or the ongoing excavation of a preserved prehistoric sinkhole that we know as the Mammoth Site, or sharing the history of the Pioneer Museum or Helen McGee collection at the library, and sampling the talents of the creative community, like those who write, produce, and perform with the Southern Hills Community Theater. And it's the centennial year for the United Churches, Presbyterian, Methodist, and Baptist. I know we'll be back because there's many more stories to tell, and we invite you to stop by and enjoy the Southern Hills as well. In the meantime, check out the latest digital edition of Dakota Life. It's online. Now for all of us at South Dakota Public Broadcasting, thanks for watching.